on the fly, where we decide whether we are going to do 20, 30, 15 minutes of conversation on the fly without any, preparation, aside from living life and producing content. As you know, we're doing a series on, I don't know how long the series is going to go, but it probably will go for a long time. Creating content and battling content creation in association to the demonic Democratic Party, as well as the demonic participants of what the Democratic Party offers. I thought I'd go into discussion today for however long it takes to discuss what you all think is valuable content versus what actual valuable content is. Valuable content is not lip singing to someone's music, seductively wearing an outfit, and then looking into the camera seductively. It's weird. However, you've created a normalcy in it as if it's a normal behavior, and you all want to F-U-C-K everybody, which is disgusting. And I'm not a prude either. Y'all are just nasty. So you want to have some self-respect when you're producing content. Meaning, SEX doesn't sell, it just takes you down the road of pedophilia as well as trafficking. Okay? So everyone out there who's seductively and only, like, you can add a little bit of that fun feeling of lighthearted experience in that, right? But you have to have some kind of substance to you to let people know that you're serious. See, none of these content creators are serious about anything. They don't do research, they don't educate themselves, and even when they travel the globe, they're literally just shopping and looking for fancy backdrops to seductively seduce you. Look at me in my bikini. Look at me in my bikini top. Look at me in my fancy outfit. Look at me in my fancy home. Look at me in my fancy self. Look at me in my fancy this, fancy that. Kissing boyfriend, holding hands. Kissing boyfriend, holding hands. Look at me at a fancy party. Look at me at this fancy party. Look at me at this fancy location drinking coffee. Look at me walking fancy. Takes you an hour to create that piece of content. Now, please tell me what value that brings to your audience. For both of these individuals, who are, whether you're the kisser or the person posting. However, why are you saying that you produce valuable content if that is your valuable content? That really gets me lit up. And if you want to know your authentic reaction to it, you're going to sit there on your end and say that you actually don't care about that. But the reality is it actually puts a strain on your relationships. So whether you're the person producing it or whether you're the person who's viewing it, both sides of this content creator aspects are experiencing horrific relationships, whether it's friendship, whether it's a boy to girl relationship, whether it's children to father, whether it's a child to a mother. Every relationship is strained at this time. However, you're doing a really good job pretending in front of everybody's face. Or you're not, and you're just completely arguing and pointing fingers at the opposite party, and then supporting the individuals producing the content as your person you're following is literally dating one. So my point is when you're producing content, you want to take into awareness that what are you actually teaching people? What's the intention behind your content? And we all know that it's not to sell the product. You're literally continuing to sell yourself. However, you don't have any ideas of what to produce in content, even though you proclaim yourself to be a doctor. If you're a physician, you've got a plethora of information in your toolbox to teach people. However, you refuse to educate people on valuable information. And so instead you prance around with an entrepreneur who has $200 million in his bank account. And then all you do is talk about yourself and teach people anorexia. Literally an example of one particular person that I'm literally investigating for the awareness game of what these fools are up to, because she is just like a million others doing the exact same thing. They're all in this secret socialite club to support each other's pages. You'll even see verified accounts go onto these people's platforms and promote their video, even though you know the video is trash. And then you'll have the higher ups in corporate America, or the fiance, or the boyfriend, or the guy that you respect, who's grown businesses from scratch, who will then post a video of him holding her hand. And then in your mind you'll say, well, maybe she's not so bad. She is that bad. It's all a blasphemy game of manipulation of the new age, of new world, of what they want to create on this internet structure. You want to understand that it is now or never. I don't give a rat's ass if you're posting yourself standing there looking at the camera and dancing strange, as long as it's not seductive. Because in the beginning, no one's going to be watching, however, everyone will be watching. And that's the mentality that you must create for yourself to advance yourself in the development of yourself for an online presence. So what you're going to be bumping up against is negativity, nastiness, and people who just do not care about anyone. And if they see any sort of potential in you, they will literally try to destroy you, just like they did to me right now. Normally, you would stop your video and you would start over. However, I barrel through, because I ain't putting up with no bullcrap. Little do you all know, I'm stronger than who you think or what you think, as you continuously go. All you do is go to dinner. All you do is go to dinner and talk a fancy game. However, y'all are dumb. I'm talking to socialites. Who's who in New York City? Who saw who with who? And it's not the audience, it's the socialites. Who did you see him with? Who did you see her with? And it's all dumb conversation that's interrupting the lives of normalcy for all of us, while you proclaim that to be valuable content. However, you're lying about everything that you portray yourselves as. And I demand that you, as the future content creators of these platforms, is that you are authentic in your ability to communicate via television. Meaning, they talk weird. They talk like you're not enough. They talk as if you're dumb. They talk as if and you are dumb. Because if you fall for that crap, you're dumb. So you need to take a look at yourself and your responsibility in it, and get yourself as a fan and a follower to understand what I'm talking about here. You are dumb. If you're going to fall for the fact that thing who looks like a monster, they look like monsters, folks. Big lips and weird eyebrows and personalities that are like this. As they show up in slimy, seductive settings, creeping in with agendas as they walk in the door to get something out of you. Let's have a business meeting and see what I can get out of this one. It's grotesque, it's disruptive, and not in the kind of disruptiveness that's appropriate, like I portray. Disrupting the drift is what I am up to. Who gives a shit if that hoe is sitting over there eating salmon? What, are you trying to make us jealous as you take a photo? Or are you trying to educate an audience? I think you're trying to make everybody jealous of what? Your miserable lives? Moving on to trauma dumping. Why do I give a crap about your emotional dump that you haven't even dealt with your own emotions? Why would I care? Why would I care? You want to ask yourself. This is a very valid question. You didn't come up with a solution. It doesn't help me. And you telling me how I have anxiety literally puts me in the dirt. So your psychology business can thrive. Now tell me how that is a good psychologist or psychiatrist or anything up to anything for the community that you say you care about. Content creation is a dirty business, and none of you are upholding your end of the bargain, and each and every one of you should actually be fired. And it's not called cancel culture, because that means you're bullying one person because you disagreed with what they had to say. That's actually what cancel culture is. Now, this is called you're fired. Meaning, as a dental hygienist, you have to be regulated in a business where you're working people's health and wellness. However, these platforms allow you to wind the minds of the masses to create chaos and unrest to fuel political powers, which is very similar and actually the same thing of what happened during World War II. Yet you all can't see your way out of a paper bag. The goal is to get you to a place where you can communicate authentically, figuring out what works and what doesn't. I'm not saying that you won't make mistakes along the pathway of this process, but those are the things that you get to look at and evolve into and move yourself in pieces to pieces. You're going to cry your eyes out. You're going to have tantrums, and you're going to scream at the top of your lungs, and you're going to beat up a punching bag. But it better not be another person unless they deserve it, like Mona Van does. You want to know the difference between good people and bad people. However, right now it's very hard to distinguish. However, all you have to do is look at their content. All you have to do is look at the count numbers of how many fans and followers. You take a look at who they're dating. You take a look at what kind of content they're producing, and you'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Not only that, you want to be able to see what year they went viral, and you'll get an even bigger picture of what they were actually up to and how they got to where they're at. Anyone prior to this point who has gone viral has been up to absolutely nothing. Utilizing music and sound and tone of voice, and not to mention eye gazes to siren you into following their platform. It's humorous because even some of these people who cannot grow their pages, even though they're dating someone who's like got 42 million, no one actually likes these people, yet they're in their mind, their narcissistic personality disorder. That's what you're bumping up against. A bunch of actors and actresses pretending to be something when they're literally showing you their true colors in every post they produce, with holding hands on a fancy yacht. Every freaking video, they've got to show up together to create their brand. Because now they're a team. Now you're a team trying to grow your finances to buy more dresses for her. So you need to take a look, folks, on what kind of content creator you're actually up to. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be a sellout, I will come after you. I will come after your kids. I will come after your husband. Because I know the truth about real life, real living. And I'm going to tell you what these snakes are up to is nothing but destruction for the low class. And that goes for you toothless wonders out there who think you're up to something, when the reality is you really ain't up to nothing. What else did I want to say? growing your common sense might be helpful. Grow your common sense, folks. That if you thought that felt good to you, then you're not an alien. If you thought that felt bad on your insides, that means you are an alien. So your soul is lost. You can get it back, I think. You're actually taken over by an alien. So let's try that again. Anything that's bad going on, you can blame Obama and Biden for what's going on because they're responsible, as well as Hillary, who's a sex trafficker, as well as Pelosi. So you need to take a look at what they are actually up to, what they look like. First of all, look what they look like. They look terrible, don't they? When you do bad things in your life, you look terrible. That means Kim Kardashian looks terrible. And that's the kind of life that she's lived. Is that kind of life. That means she'll talk about working hard, however, she doesn't work hard. Her house is an empty shell. Take a look at Mona Van's house and Gary's house. Empty inside. Empty inside, but they proclaim themselves to be filled up with love and happiness. It's a fraud. It's lonely at the top, he says. Yeah, because you're lonely. You've been lonely for a long time. You don't get along with your parents. You pretend, you pretend, you pretend, you pretend. Smile more, Gary. Smile more, Mona. Be sweet. Not sure when enough is going to be enough for you to berate all of us on a daily basis on your fancy yachts and your fancy jets and all the other bullcrap that you're actually up to. But it's really exhausting. Oh, but I love my aliens so much. Yeah, because you're dumb. Oh, is that against community guidelines? Probably, because that's how controlled we are in an environment. See, in the future, if this ever comes to light, we won't need to talk to each other like that. You do understand that, right? However, the awareness game is you have to pull the shit out the toilet and shove it in people's faces. And that's not literally. However, showing you Mona's face is like looking at shit, just like Maha's face. Talk about nasty. Never trust an Egyptian. Never trust a Middle Eastern. Never trust them. They're literally all looking for control. It's a birthright. It's an occurrence of pureness that gets you to trust them. And then you come back in with a hook, and then they tell you how to feel. They tell you what to buy. They tell you what's cool. They tell you this, they tell you that, and they try to misinformation your mind into new ways of living that fits for them so that they can win. And that's that is the pathway. I can't wait to see what their wedding looks like. Because he will fall for it. He will fall for all of it because that is who he is and that is who he's become. And then he'll live miserably ever after, and then you as 42 million followers will also do the same. And that's what we're up to with the entrepreneur of the century, which I coined the term. They just capitalized off of it, and he went with it as he traveled the globe holding the hand of a prostitute. Can't wait to see what you respond to that with as you post another prostitute video with her holding your hand instead of doing your job, which you were hired for.